This is Elton Kane for Finextra at Sydney Cybos 2018, and I'm here with Thomas Filer, Head of Product Management Account Payments for equensWorldline. Thomas, thank you for joining us.
Hello, Elton.
Payment Services Directive 2 became effective as of January this year, but with the technical standards coming into force September next year, it seems there hasn't been that much activity in the market. What's your view on what's going on, and what's your company doing as a result?
Few banks have started already to implement their APIs in the market, but that's really a minority at the moment. And I guess one of the reasons why this is going to take some longer is because the banks and the players in the market do kind of treat the RTS to become active in September 2019 as the ultimate start of the PSD2, if you like, although it has been already in place. And given that there is a period of 6 months that an API needs to be active in the market and provided by the bank, we see that, we expect that by March next year there will be a lot more activity on the market, and this is actually what we as equensWorldline are also following and very closely and preparing for.
Do you think that the RTS has provided enough clarity to the market?
There is clarity, yes, on the strong client or customer authentication side, and that's a clear benefit of the RTS. Where we actually focusing on services for banks, where we see a gap in the RTS is on the third interface between the third-party provider and the banks, PSPs. As far as the standardization is concerned on this interface. So there are a lot of derivatives that are coming up at the moment. There are a lot of different ways of doing it coming up, and it's actually at the moment it's the market regulating this, the market looking into this, and so we see a little bit of a risk, if you like. That we kind of end up with a SEPA-like situation where there are multiple derivatives of the same standard. And this is why we also invest a lot of activity into, for example, founding the CAPS initiative. By the way, actively working on the Berlin Group and other industry-wide communities to actually make sure that there is at least a path towards further standardization. I mean, there's no secret that we as a service provider to the banks do benefit from this current situation, but I think we also all agree that this can't be the ultimate solution, that there are so many different, because we want this to be successful.
And who do you see as benefiting most once PSD2 is kind of live, embedded and adopted?
Let me start with the threat first, because I definitely think that it is the PSD2 does is representing a threat to the banks, and but ultimately a benefit to their clients. So there is now really the situation where the banks clients have to benefit from something that the banks are kind of suffering from, and there are a lot of market players that are coming in as well, and it's up to the bank actually, or the PSPs, to make very strategic decisions with regards to whether there is whether they want to get more involved into the client to bank relationship in terms of, for example, becoming an active player, because what we see is that there is there's a lot of activity in the background at the moment with other third-party providers in the telecom area or different players that are moving into this space, and it's up to the bank's strategy to actually move into this area as well, and that's actually what we are actually working with the banks for in this area.
It's probably a bit too early to ask this given we're still in the middle of PSD2 and dealing with that, but do you think in future there might be a requirement for a PSD3 to truly open up the market?
This is a very good question, but a hard question to answer as well. Looking at the customer journey of that the PSD2 is actually also impacting in a way, is that although the strong customer authentication is something that is introduced and in place, it kind of contradicts with the way of the invisible payment trend that we're seeing at the moment. So a payment to be done in not as a need, but as because I want to do a payment. And so I think and given that, like I said earlier, that there is activity in the background, and maybe at this point in time, it is too early to say that there needs to be a PSD3. It requires a certain level of creativity on the bank side to actually become relevant or stay relevant for their clients, and then it all is related to how open banking will become, how the banks and the PSPs will allow the TPPs to become a player and a partner in this area. Also to see how the banks are opening up their infrastructure for all these new services and products that we are actually looking for as use cases to happen.
That's great. Thomas, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
And thank you for watching.